Well, guys, I already gave you my non-spoiler review of Avengers Endgame, and now I want to go over everything that I found wrong with this movie. Now, this movie is definitely not a perfect movie by any means whatsoever. It's not as good as Infinity War, and there were some flaws because the overall challenge in this movie for the Russo brothers was really to combine all of the MCU movies into one. Now, they're going to be full spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen the movie, you don't want to watch this video. I'm warning you now because we're going in with spoilers. Now, first off, I did not like the portrayal of Thor in this movie. Thor was a super strong Avenger in all of the other movies. Now, in this movie, he is literally fat. He is a beer drinking, beer gut, just bum. He really, really is. I don't know what made them go that direction with Thor. All of the other Avengers, they all lost something, but Thor seemed to have taken it the hardest. He and his Asgardians, they have a community on Earth, I think in Norway, called New Asgard. And he is not a leader whatsoever. He just sits around, he drinks beer all day. The six-pack abs, those days are gone. I mean, I was expecting to see him, start working out, getting his abs back and everything. No. I mean, Thanos crushed his will like I did not expect his will to be crushed. I mean, everybody, even Hawkeye, his whole family at the beginning of the movie got dusted instantly. But he didn't go into this deep, dark depression where he just kind of like quit and gave up on everything. I guess you could say he kind of did in a way, in his own way, but he still kind of kept himself in the game, so to speak. But Thor, I mean, he was just pure comedy really throughout the entire movie. I mean, the only thing that happened really was Loki got killed at the beginning of Infinity War. Well, his people did get killed too. But even from that, after everybody got dusted, I don't think he really directly lost anybody from the dusting, but he just really, really fell down into a deep, dark depression. Now, another thing that bothered me about this movie that I really didn't like that much was it was just way, way, way too many characters coming back from all of the old MCU movies. Peggy's back from Avengers. I'm sorry, actually from Captain America, his love of his life, so to speak. And she's back in this movie. She has a small couple of cameos. Dr. Hank from Ant-Man, he's back. Very small scene. I mean, you really, really have to watch every single MCU movie to catch all of the details. So when you're talking about 22 movies and you pretty much have to watch about 20 of them to really, really digest everything in this movie, that's a great effort, and I think they pulled it off, but it can be a flaw because it's just way too much, way too much. And all of the Avengers that came back, it's really just cameos. I mean, Black Panther was in the movie for about 5 minutes, I would say. He did his one little thing. Then you had to have Doctor Strange do his thing, Spider-Man do his thing, and that was pretty much all at the end in this one scene. And it worked out because I did like the final battle, but I don't think it was enough to really kind of give them the screen time that I would think they would deserve, coming back. And that also brings me to something else. You remember when Doctor Strange said that he calculated over 14 million scenarios on how they could win. Now they bring that back in the final battle, And Tony Stark actually asked Doctor Strange about that. And Doctor Strange kind of like just signals to him like now. And I'm wondering like, how does Tony even know this? I mean, they don't do a good job of explaining this final scenario where they actually win. And how does Tony really even know what to do? But it kind of foreshadowed Tony's death in the beginning because Tony did ask Doctor Strange, how do we win? What is that 1 in 14 million scenario? And Doctor Strange tells him, if I tell you, you won't do it. And right there, you kind of knew that Tony was dead, which kind of leads me to another thing. I think Tony's death was a little bit too obvious to me based on that. If they wanted to kill him off, I wanted it to be a complete surprise, but going into the movie, I already expected Tony to die, but I didn't think it would make it that obvious, because when Doctor Strange said that if I told you, you wouldn't do it, or it wouldn't happen or something like that, I knew that Tony was going to die. I really, really did. So, but I think his death was respectable though. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. executed it pretty well, because the character of Tony he's a comedic character, and it was comedic, you know, when he actually snapped his fingers and said like, I am Iron Man, and he dusted all of Thanos and his minions. But I think the execution of him and Doctor Strange, you know, interacting with each other on what to do, I don't think that really kind of played out as well based on what Doctor Strange said in Infinity War. Now, another thing that really bothered me, and this is probably a major thing. This goes back to Thor. Thor, he's still completely broken even after the events of Endgame. And I think Valkyrie tells him that the people need their king, and he basically says he doesn't want to be king, and he just says, you be their queen or their leader or something like that. I'm like, really? I mean, he's just going to quit on his own people like that, and he's going to give all of the power to Valkyrie? I mean, if you watch Thor Ragnarok, Valkyrie is not a leader of the Asgardians. She is more of a outside villain, you know, in that movie. So what gives her the right, and what would make Thor give her the power over the Asgardians? Now, this movie does take place, there's a 5-year time jump from the beginning of the movie to the events at the end. Maybe he witnessed, you know, her leadership or something with the Asgardians, but it doesn't really play out in the movie. We don't get to see that whatsoever. And, you know, that's because there's just so many things in this movie. The movie is just all over the place, and it has to be. I mean, 3 hours. This movie, now that I think about it, really should have been closer to like 5 hours, or they could have split this movie into 2, really, to tell everything that they needed to tell in expanded versions of it. Because I don't think 3 hours was even long enough to fully tell everything that needed to be told. So I just don't get it. Captain America giving over the mantle to Falcon. That's his guy. That's his friend. I don't mind that so much, but I don't think anyone should be taking up the mantle of Captain America in the movies. I mean, I like Sam. I like Sam as Falcon. I don't want to see Sam as Captain America. I didn't want to see Bucky as Captain America. Nobody should pick up that mantle as Captain America. And I know that in the comic books, it happens like that. But for me, I don't want to see anyone play this role as long as Chris Evans is available. Now, granted, Captain America, he's an old man in this movie at the end, but even in the comic books, he gets his powers back and he becomes Captain America again, younger. But I don't think they're going to go that route. They may actually go with a Captain America movie with Falcon. I would just rather see a Falcon movie in that case. So guys, this is pretty much everything that I can think of right now off the top of my head that I didn't like with this movie. I will do another video on things that I did like with Avengers Endgame. So guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.